Hello, I'm Alistair McPherson. I'm Chief Executive for Plymouth Energy Community. Plymouth Energy Community, we're a social enterprise based in Plymouth that aims to transform the way residents and businesses can buy, use or generate energy. We came from an original aspiration to do something different around energy in Plymouth, particularly a political aspiration led by the City Council. And in recognition that there was a growing frustration and lack of trust in the energy services provided by the Big Six, and a desire to see something different in that space, and a recognition primarily that we could do something more to harness the solar capacity that the city receives. With the country's sunniest city, but yet we haven't had a great track record in getting solar renewable technologies deployed. That political gem of an idea led into some work that again the City Council supported with in community engagement work and feasibility work and business planning work, through to a point where Plymouth Energy Community was born in June of 2013. In a very short period of time, less than 2 years, a year and a half, we have been very successful in delivering, we believe, some really big community impacts and a huge load of community benefit. We are a community benefit society, so we are owned and run by our members, and we operate to deliver a range of services around that buy, use and generate energy piece. We provide services to residents about how they can gain the benefits, financial benefits of switching from one energy provider to another. We provide that by giving an impartial advice around what can be saved from switching from one tariff to another. We have partnered with tariff comparison organisations that provide that for us, but our job is to go out and provide the link with those people who could the most benefit from that advice. Historically, those people switching from one tariff to another have always been those people. Everyone can benefit from £200 extra in your pocket per year, but actually those people on low incomes generally don't do that, so we target our advice to those groups. We have expanded that work around the impact of fuel bills on people's lives to deliver a service around fuel debt relief, and we work with people that have fallen into arrears to get those arrears written off through a relationship that we've developed with an energy trust that has a pool of funds to get that off, get that written off. We have 2 dedicated full-time fuel debt advisors that work in that space, are working with people that fall into arrears to get a quality application into that trust. We've been very successful in now writing off £55,000 worth of debt in the last 9 months, and we have over £60,000 worth of debt in process that we expect to be written off in the next 3 months. That's a big impact in our eyes in terms of less than 12 months of activity. We've worked also to help residents reduce the way they use energy, and reduce energy in the household particularly. And we've done that through a partnership with British Gas, where we are the local marketing agent for a grant offer that they provide alongside with some government money that the council provides to get particularly solid wall insulation put on properties. These are properties that can't benefit from the traditional insulation measures that have been readily available for many years, like cavity wall insulation or loft insulation. Solid wall insulation is there for the hard to treat properties that don't have cavities, and it basically is giving a nice warm blanket around the outside of the building by covering it in a thick layer of insulation and then replastering, rendering over the top. Through that programme, we've now been in contact with over 12,000 households through the city, and through that we are on track to have 700 households get the benefit of fuel debt of external wall insulation by September of this year. One area we've worked hard on in the last year is around providing more solar power to the city, and we particularly want to get more locally owned solar power in our city, and through that we have delivered free solar panels to 21 schools and community buildings across the city. We've done that by Plymouth Energy Community creating another vehicle called Plymouth PEC Renewables, which exists purely to own and operate community-owned solar panel installations. That organisation has received some loan funding from the City Council, and it's matched that loan funding by issuing community shares, which have been used to pay for solar panels on those buildings. Those buildings benefit from lower bills, particularly the schools benefit from a great educational resource on their site, which their children and pupils can use in their lessons. The investors who buy into those community shares benefit from a 6% return on their investment. It's a long-term investment, over a minimum of 6 years out to 20 years. But it's a great way for local people to benefit from some of the returns that are out there and being reached largely by commercial organisations in the renewable energy industry. And we think that's a perfect sort of circle. And part of our long-term game is to generate more and more of those renewable energy assets. So we've currently, our 21 schools was what we did last year, and we've currently got another share offer out there now where we want to put as much solar generation on the Life Centre, on Plymouth Life Centre, as we did on all those schools and community buildings together. It's one big roof and it's a perfect place to showcase the potential for renewable energy. And so we're out there at the moment raising our target of £950,000 for a £1.4 million programme of renewable energy installations across the Life Centre, plus 4 to 5 other schools as well. Out of that, there'll be obviously returns to the investors, and there's returns and benefits back to the host buildings, but equally there's a return back to Plymouth Energy Community. And the Community Benefit Society of Plymouth Energy with PEC Renewables provides a long-term surplus back into PEC and Plymouth Energy Community to fund the kind of things we were talking about earlier, i.e. fuel poverty work, promotion of energy insulation measures, which are very difficult to make a margin on. I think there have been a number of challenges. I mean, we've been fortunate to have, and we continue to be fortunate to have the ongoing support of the City Council in what we're doing, so that's helping us in terms of getting off the ground. And it's helped us move more quickly than other community energy organisations working in the same space. We've delivered much more quickly as a result of that, and the kind of scale of delivery that we've been able to do over the last year wouldn't have been possible without that. So some of those challenges are like, for instance, as a small social enterprise, just the core costs of running the business. How do you cover those? And when you're still effectively testing and developing your business model, we're fortunate to have the fact that we're hosted here, for instance, in the City Council, helps keep those core costs down significantly. The council has loan finance and development finance. The councils provide low-cost loan finance to our renewable energy installations because they recognise that there's a long-term issue in terms of addressing the issues of fuel poverty and energy generally in the city, and that this is a way of turning current capital reserves into long-term resources for long-term revenue problems. And that's what effectively we're doing. So again, we've kind of got over some of those challenges through I guess what is increasingly seen as a win-win relationship both for the council but also for us as a social enterprise. We're a social enterprise because the issues that we seek to address with our business are social and environmental issues. We have a core set of values around trying to tackle the energy issues, around lack of trust in those energy issues, and around emissions reductions and local responses to climate change. Those are kind of social and environmental issues. We've now built that into our governance arrangements as a business. So we're a community benefit society. So for us, that's part of delivering on what we were talking about, that local ownership in terms of renewables. That allows local people to invest in those programs, and that's part of our social purpose to have local engagement in it. So, and that's built into our governance structure. We have an asset lock in that governance structure, so we are a legally constituted form of social enterprise, and that comes from a clear ambition about what those social values and environmental values were, through to a recognition that we wanted to protect that kind of local ownership in it for the long term. It depends what we're doing, but we've worked closely with Knowledge, who are based in the Royal William Yard. They're a spin-off from the university, and they've been with us right from the early starts. They helped us with some of the early focus groups work we did with the community around what the ambitions were for this social enterprise community organisation. And so they've built they've been with us all the way from the journey, and they're so being able to kind of watch and help develop the brand around it. And one of the things that we get a lot of positive feedback on is the quality of that branding, how clear our message is. We're acutely aware that the issues that we're dealing with are difficult issues, and otherwise other people would be doing it, wouldn't they? And so the quality and clarity of message is absolutely central to us, and so we spend quite a disproportionate amount of resource, not disproportionate, but we think it's proportionate, but it's more than many others in terms of like communicating what that message is and articulating it in a way that will be received. We do that at a number of different tiers. So for instance, we are currently trying to raise £950,000. We can't do that just by talking to people just in Plymouth, so we are marketing ourselves on a national stage, and we use a partner called FX, who are a web-based and positive investment platform to seek to get that kind of capital investment in. But at the other end of the scale, we have a project linked to this council's City of Service programme, which is part funded by Nesta, which is about communicating our message at the grassroots through volunteering and through raising the local community's capacity around the energy space. And there's we talked about a lot of mistrust in that space, but there's also a lot of lack of literacy about what it is, how you can make a difference. And so part of our ambition is to grow a community of people that are more literate in that, from acting at a grassroots level to being able to advocate and help around changing that space just on a voluntary basis, through to providing kind of voluntary support in a more strategic level in terms of becoming non-exec directs on our board. And in the middle there's a whole range of direct marketing approaches, leaflets, the normal kind of channels. We have a good website, and we use social media plenty. I think we feel one of the most clear areas where we feel we're making a difference is through the fuel debt service. We get feedback from those people that have had their debts cleared off. They may be from a £50 debt through to a £1,500 debt, and that is immediately impactful in relation to those people that are at the blunt end of the cost of living crisis. And so that's really powerful to us, and we're really pleased to have just got an extension to the contractual relationship we have with the Energy Trust, to mean that service will now be able to provide it out until June 2016. So that's another 15 months of funding on that programme. So that's fantastic. In addition to that, I think the impact of providing 21 free solar installations to those schools and community buildings stands for itself. Those buildings have now got half price electricity coming from those installations, and those schools are now actively using those assets as part of their curriculum. That's impactful, and there's plenty of kind of good anecdotes back from the teachers and the heads and the governors that have received those. So that feels really powerful to us.